Tonight on the Cooligans, we are talking about the madness of the MLS Cup playoffs, the insanity of the Western Conference final, the craziness of the Eastern Conference final, and we have the final set up this week, MLS Cup against Seattle and Columbus.
It's amazing. Plus, we also got Adam Conover, who we talked to about all of our starts in comedy, when we met 10 years ago, why we all stunk at UCB except him, and how cool it was to meet Obama, but it wasn't as cool as doing comedy with us. Well, back in the day. That and more today on the Cooligans! Yeah, baby!
Let us go.
Wow.
Let us begin, okay?
Wow.
Because still feeling some of the shock waves.
Minnesota, stop the count.
Stop the count. We are done. 70 minutes. It's rigged.
I went to bed. We were winning. I woke up. We weren't. Clearly, we need Giuliani to fart all over the place.
Minnesota United is like, yo, I don't like this latest EA update. Okay, I ain't feeling
what happened? Who had card of the whatever player of the season of the year card for Svensson and Bruin? That ain't right.
Unreal. Insane. The MLS Cup playoffs have been wild. Obviously, the Western Conference Final was insane, and we'll get into all of that. But
there's been two games that were
boring.
Let
me introduce the show.
That were boring, and they were boring because they were good, and that's it.
Okay. Yes. Look, Alexis. He's been doing a TV show for over a year. Has no idea how it all works. Okay?
Wait a minute. This goes on TV? Oh, I should be way more professional.
Welcome to the Cooligans. My name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerrero, the one he brought up.
Okay, we are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show on television right here on Fubo Sports Network.
That's right. And just like MLS Cup playoffs, it's the gulliest.
Okay. None of it makes sense. All right. It's absolute bedlam. Yes, let's get into the Western Conference Final first. We have the MLS Cup final is set, but man, Seattle Sounders against Minnesota United. This was absolutely wild. I mean, no one expected Minnesota United to be up 2-0 in the first half. A goal from...
And a good chunk of the second half.
And a fair amount. Look, the 538 was like, yo... book your flight to Columbus, right?
Yo, 538's like, yo, the polls can't possibly be wrong, baby.
We're all set. No, the the first goal from Emmanuel Reynoso, a free kick that was, just incredible. All
the stats they started putting up about Bebelo, Reynoso, it's just been like, my God, did he tear up this league? And the 2.5 months he's been here.
He just got here like a new kid from a bad school. They're like, ooh, who's that? And then he just literally, now he's the coolest kid there. He's prom king. Okay.
Yo, my God, that's it. Done. You know what I mean? He gets detention, but he doesn't really have to go. He has a moped. He parks it in a teacher's parking spot. He's run the whole gamut, man.
And he started this. Without just fawning over him so much, he's really good, right? Like the dude is just such he's technically he's not even super fast. He's just so technically gifted.
He's so Argentinian. He's not that tall. He's not cut. He's not fast. He's just on the ball. He puts it wherever he wants.
He's subtle. I love the little when he gets double teamed or anything. He just knows exactly where to put the ball away from the defender or flicks it over a leg or whatever. It's just he's really, really good.
And the dude got shot in the knee.
That was what a wild little tidbit of a story.
When did John Strong become Nardwar? He's pulling up stuff that happened in this kid's life. life. He's like, damn, I didn't even tell anybody about that.
It's like, yo, John Strong, you reading my diary? Damn.
Who are you talking to? Yo, John FBI Strong? If you didn't hear, in the middle of the game, the previous game, John Strong's like, and by the way, he borrowed his dad's scooter and a bunch of thieves tried to get it from him because he went to use it to go visit friends and he wouldn't give it up. So they shot him in the knee. Now, that's the story that they're being told.
That's what the police record says. Right
now, for those of us from certain areas, when you get kneecapped, that's a different thing. It's usually done for a reason. Maybe you and your friend group had a miscommunication, and maybe you took a higher cut than you were supposed to. All I'm saying is there's more to the story, but I it right now, so that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all bleep that out if you want.
I mean, look, it's when we talk about gulliness, when players that come from Argentina, we think of Argentina as just this skirt steak and Rivieras,
passionate, playing tango. Nah, fam.
Nah, bro. It can get pretty wild out there.
And he tried to hide it. He's like, "Oh, bullet fragments. Oh, that old thing in my knee. That's important to play the sport. Oh, don't even worry about it."
I get it mixed up sometimes with So I didn't know what that clicking was. Whatever.
Focus on this hangnail. That's much more important. We got more when we get back after this.
Hey guys, it's Tyler Miller, and I got goalie with the Cooligans.
All right, baby, we're back on the Cooligans Living Room FC. and look, I know we're going crazy here talking about Seattle, Minnesota, and we'll keep talking about it, but I want you to know we got Adam Conover on the show. So the excitement just continues, Christian.
Okay, let's go.
I mean, one of my favorite things about the match itself is everyone was like, "It's over, Schmetzer. You ain't getting your money." He's not even got a contract right now. His contract is over at the end of the season. Everyone's like, "Sorry, Schmetz. Maybe you could go coach in Toronto." And by the end of it, they were like, "This guy's a dynasty." It's like 10 minutes changed everything.
It's kind of insane that he hasn't had his contract renewed. There must be something else going on. How many MLS Cups? How many trips to the MLS Cup finals do you need to reach before it's worthy of? Are you going to get a better coach? I don't understand.
If I'm Schmetzer, I'm walking into the meeting and I'm walking right up to whoever the GM or the owner, whoever it is that's doing the contract negotiations, and I'm whispering in my dude's ear, "Daddy wants to get paid." You know what I mean? And that's it. That's my negotiation. I'm walking out.
And that's something Brian Schmetzer would say. Okay, that's how he talks.
And might I add that quite possibly one of the best coaches in MLS history absolutely despises me. We've covered this on this show. Just hates the fact that I'm anywhere near media.
Look, it was not a great first impression.
Or second. Yeah.
He keeps showing up and we're always there. It's a problem
for him.
I just want to talk real quick about the end of this game, because obviously, yes, Minnesota was up 2-0, and the first goal from Seattle didn't happen until the 75th minute. Will Bruin gets in this game, who he's played like 3 games this season. The guy was recovering from a really bad injury.
Adrian Heath's like, "We didn't prepare for this dude. Who is this dude?"
This can't be fair.
Are they pulling people?
Okay. Have you seen this man's torso? He's built like a brick house.
Yeah, dude. Him and Jordan Morris together if they were shirtless, it would look like one of those firefighter calendars. They're just like big rectangles, to steal something from Captain Tucker.
Yeah. And then so Will Bruin scores that goal. You could understand the ball's just bouncing around, deflected, falls at his foot. He puts it in. You get that one.
That's Will Bruin time.
Yes, exactly. Okay, the dancing bear has arrived. Okay.
Is the ball ping ponging everywhere? This is what I've trained my whole life for.
Okay, we know the move.
Yeah, come on, baby.
And then Raul Ruiz-Diaz after a corner. Raul Ruiz-Diaz is just unmarked. Who knows why? Maybe I haven't watched the play again. I don't know if he separated himself and got the space. Ball lands at his feet, and he really he had a lot to do here. There was one defender, and the goalkeeper is near post, Damon St. Clair, and he gets the ball. I mean, it is literally, he threads a needle. There is zero space, and literally the circumference of the ball could fit through this space, and he gets it.
If
through.
Somebody 2 miles away sneezes in that direction, the gust of wind that would slightly move that ball just slightly would mean it wouldn't go in.
Yeah, a great goal. He had another goal that was taken back by VAR, but Seattle was really good this game, and on 2 set pieces.
You know
Minnesota,
what? I actually disagree. I don't think Seattle was that great. Seattle was putting in cross after cross after cross and not finding anyone. The one player that I sat there and said, this dude just wants it on his back and he wants to take over was Rui Diaz. Rui Diaz was like, all right, y'all do the passes and stuff. I'm going to go put pressure on this back line. And he kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually Minnesota just got tired out and they just stopped watching Rui Diaz, which is like, that's like leaving your girl in a room with a male stripper. You're like, no, babe, that's not what men are supposed to look like.
Okay, good analogy. Yes, that's what it's like. But look, there weren't many. They only made 3 subs from Minnesota. Clearly a mistake. They had more to use, and you could tell that they were tired towards the end of the game. Maybe that the plan was, whatever. We'll make the changes in extra time.
Kai Kamara playing up front. Everyone fall back. There was smart moves that just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out. Yeah, and that's it's just unfortunate. You feel bad.
Adrian Heath got schmetzered. That's all. That's what happened.
Okay, look, the verb of schmetzer. Okay, we know he got it. It happened to him. All right, we got more to discuss. We have Adam Conover on the show, and we're going to be talking about the Eastern Conference Final between Columbus and New England. Come right back.
Hey, I'm Derek Etienne, and I kicked it with the Cooligans.
All right, welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC, and make sure to stick around. We have Adam Conover of Adam Ruins Everything coming up right after this, and so let's talk about the Eastern Conference Final. Columbus against New England. Columbus wins this game 1-0. This game wasn't, didn't have the drama of the Western Conference Final, but nevertheless, it was a good showing from Columbus. I think the
only real drama was Bruce Arena's eyebrows the whole match going up and down. He's rolling his eyes at everybody. He's like, who's this? What are you doing? I didn't teach you that. There was a lot of that. It was great.
And the fact that we can hear him, it's just he's been doing this throughout the entire playoffs, pretty much throughout the entire season. But his former guest of the show, DeJuan Jones, he says DeJuan's name so much. He's like, DeJuan, good job, DeJuan. Press DeJuan. It's like he's coaching only one guy. It
reminds me of the lady I grew up next to who would yell out the window, Anthony, and all of us are like, does Anthony even exist? This guy, I can tell you why he's not coming home.
Look, I'll be honest, there's like 45 Anthonys on this block alone. You really need to be more specific.
Let's just gather all the Anthonys and she can pick which one she wants, and then we can move on because I gotta sleep, lady.
No, but
yes, the one.
A good game from Columbus. A great game from Jonathan Mensah, the
incredible
center back. He's just, it was a great assist. The ball went from it was a cross from Lucas Zelarayan to Mensah, lay it off for Artur. Who is a defensive midfielder who hadn't scored in 3 years, and now in this season he scored 3 goals.
Well, you
just
picked
like the last couple weeks.
Huh? You picked a great time to find your scoring boots, my guy.
Because Matt Turner was unstoppable. Also, a friend of the show.
Yeah,
Matt Turner had one of the better games that he's had. He's been incredible this year. He's been in the conversation of he should be the number 1 for the U.S. men's national team.
He's had a hell of a year. He had a hell of a year.
He's had more game time, more minutes than Zach Steffen, who is currently the number 1 there. So you could understand why people are giving him that much praise. But he had a great game.
Good competition for the camp, though, baby. Come on.
Yeah, they wouldn't have. New England wouldn't have been as close as they were. It wouldn't. It could have been a worse scoreline, but Matt Turner was incredible. But Columbus, they got it done. So who do you? We'll get to later in the week. We'll figure out who we think is going to win, and we'll give our predictions. But make sure to watch that on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll do that. When we get back, we got Adam Conover, guys. Stick around. What's up, baby? Welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC, and this is exciting. This is someone we've known for years. We never get to do this. We don't get to. Our friends just aren't famous enough. This is one of the few.
We need to. We really hung out with the wrong group of people when we were starting out in comedy.
Facts, man. It's like, you guys need to do something so we look important to our fans. But this guy did. He went all the way from just straight up staring at me, wondering why is he here, to me with improv classes that we took together. And you met him. I met him in the comedy scene, like the open mic scene. But the first time I interacted with him was during my Sketch 101 UCB class at UCB. He was the substitute teacher for Eric Scott. He came in one day, came out of the bullpen and saved the day. They called him. Yeah, because I wonder, when I used to walk around, we would come into class at the same time, and people would be like, hey man, to him, and no one said hello to me. I'm like, yo, he knows everybody here. I think he's a mole. I'm like, I don't know why. I came from the corporate world just before that, but absolutely amazing. You guys probably know him from ruining everything on the internet, and he's got a dope new show coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, unless you're driving, for the one, the only, Adam Conover, everybody.
Hello. Wonderful to be here. Hi, everybody. Can I get a suggestion from the audience?
Yes.
You don't have to anymore, Adam. Relax.
Oh, thank God I'm not doing improv anymore. I sucked at it so hard. I was just taking it because I was a sketch teacher, and I was like, I should probably do this improv thing, and I was bad at it. So I quit doing it very quickly. But I met you, which was great.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember I was producing a comedy show at the time, and I was like, hey, man, you should do, and you had taken a few months off of stand-up or a little while off, and I said, you should come do my show, and you go, hey, I'm trying to get over the suck hump. And I was like, the suck hump? And you're like, yeah, when you're starting, you're just trying to get as many reps in so you don't suck as bad. And I was like, is that what I never did in improv?
I thought that was my favorite Pornhub category, suck hump. I was into that.
Don't Google it, folks. But you've obviously, so much has happened since then. But I remember you from, you had a sketch comedy troupe called Old English back in the day, which I think you said was just over at that point. But I still remember as like pretty popular. Everyone's like, you got to check out his stuff on the internet.
We were a very early sketch group, like pre-YouTube. We were basically had success because we were like the only people putting up QuickTime videos of comedy in like 2004.
Like Winamp, right? People watching your stuff on Winamp.
Yes. Real Player, man. People are getting rid of that pop-up. They're like, oh,
yeah, dude.
Get out of here, Real Player, trying to watch our videos. And we were just like, it was the very early days of internet video. But yeah, we had it was my college sketch group. We had a little bit of success. We moved to New York. We hosted a show at UCB for a while. We were making videos for the website Super Deluxe when that first opened. And so we made a little bit of a name for ourselves. And then the group broke up, and I was like, if I don't keep doing comedy, I'm going to quit. And so I started doing stand-up open mics and taking improv classes and just doing everything I could to like get in there. You know what I mean?
And I think that was the thing that was, first noticeable, at least for me, very new in comedy. I would go to open mics and I would see you, and I'm like, why is this dude so well put together, so well dressed? Oh. What is he doing here? Is he a foreign operative? But
that's what I'm saying, right? We both thought he was like, something else is happening here.
But I think that was the one of the first things I noticed. So when you went into the stand-up world, was it jarring in any way? Were people kind of put off or anything like that? Or how comfortable was the transition? I
mean, it was uncomfortable, but it was necessary because I had this idea of that I was some big shot in comedy just because I had been in a sketch group that was semi-successful. And we had, literally for just 1 year been making videos for a website that then folded a year later. But because I had made any money from comedy and I was like 25, I was like, I'm pretty big. But then when everything, when the group broke up and the website folded, I was like, I got to keep doing stand-up. And I felt like I felt a little bit back on my heels, like, oh, I shouldn't have to do this. But I was like, no, I really do need to. And nobody treated me special at like open mics, it's nice to hear that you regarded me well, because mostly you remember what it was like. You just would do these open mics. You'd be like, all 50 people in this room hate me.
Yeah. Right? Turns out for some of us, it's true.
It's like anytime any comic would say anything nice to you, you would be like, oh my God, maybe a friend here in this desert of lack of concern,
Right? When you're getting the one drink you have to get in order to perform, and someone goes, hey, that thing you said was kind of funny, that carries you for the next 6 months.
Oh my God.
Shitty open mics.
I mean, I literally run into comics today who are like, at an open mic in like 2009, you said good set to me and I never forgot it. That happened to me like a week ago. It was crazy.
That guy's selling Subarus.
But no, I actually really I'm glad you brought this up, because it's been a while since I thought about this. I think it's really valuable that I very early in my career had the experience of having a little success and then having it fall apart and having to build back up, because I know comics who got their first piece of success at age 35, like they worked for a long time. And then because it's their first time having it, they think it's got to be this way forever, and they treat other people badly, or they're just like really anxious about it. Like, oh no, it's all going to go away. And I was lucky to have the experience early on of like having a little bit of success and then losing it and having to build back up. And I now know it's all okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I don't sell a TV show this year, well, hey, I can go back to basics. I can build up like I did last time. And so that was a really valuable lesson that I consider myself lucky to have learned. So what I'm saying is, when you guys lose this show, don't worry. That's going to be good for you.
Yeah. Well, luckily we know you, so we'll be right away pitching stuff to you by knocking on your door and saying, remember in 2009 when you said I had a good set?
It's been wonderful to see your success as well. It made me so happy to see you guys doing the show. And I listen to the podcast, by the way. I am a fan of the show.
Thank you
That
very
means
much.
a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know what gully means, but I have heard the word.
Hopefully we'll get to it by the end of the program. But and that brings you to one thing, is that one piece of advice that I always appreciated from you, and I've repeated this several times on this show, is we were on a show at UCB East together. I think I was doing your show. If I don't remember exactly which one, but you were asking me what was going on and what I was doing, and I was talking about a podcast that I used to do and that I wasn't really interested in doing anymore. And you said you are people, like, you are what you do the most. And I always remember that. And then when we started doing this soccer podcast, at first it was like, oh, am I going to be known as the soccer comedian? Is that like a comfortable sort of thing? But then once I was been around this community, the soccer community, you were in the LAFC hat. You've gone to LAFC games. You see the level of community that and the passion and love for the sport, that it made me feel like, you know what? I'm the soccer comedian. I could care less. Yeah. This is great. These people are awesome. I want to be around this community even more. So that was one thing that made me, it validated the career path that I ended up choosing, and you helped me with that.
Oh my God, I'm happy to hear that. And also, I don't remember saying that, and that's good advice. So I'm going to take advice from my past self.
You actually said the same thing to me, but here's another piece of advice which I never took. One day I was saying to you, I was like, we were doing something in improv, and someone had scuffed my sneakers. Right. And I was like, yo, like these sneakers, like, man, I was like wearing Air Force Ones, and they were relatively new. And Adam, not even looking up from his notebook, just goes, you know what I do? I go on Amazon and I click the cheapest sneakers from cheapest to most expensive. And I just buy like 2 or 3 of the ones that are about $25. That's what I do. And I don't care if anybody scuffs them. And he just kept writing in his notebook. And I was like, how are we so different?
Yeah, but you got to remember, I'm embarrassed of that now, because you have to remember how shitty my sneakers were. I wore the ugliest sneakers, because I was literally, the tip was on Amazon, sometimes the sneakers are 90% off. And so you just sort by your size, what's 90% off, and you can get sneakers for like $20. And I wore the ugliest sneakers. People were like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, these were $15, idiot.
Yeah.
What
like, if someone scuffed my sneakers, it ruined my week. If somebody scuffed your sneakers, you're like, another Amazon shipment coming in tomorrow, baby. Who cares?
And that's the interesting thing is for dudes that come from Newark, New Jersey, like Alexis, can't fake scuff somebody's sneakers and not get real, yoked up. You know what I mean?
There's a real anger about, yo, why'd you touch my sneakers, dog?
What's really funny is you're from Newark. I'm from Long Island, but I'm not from like that part of Long Island. I'm from farm country, East Long Island. And so I'm like a New Yorker. That's how I've been living in LA 5 years, but I still want to be a New Yorker in my heart. But I don't have that culture. And that always bummed me. I feel like I'm always aspiring to be more like you, Alexis.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now that's a show. You got to pitch Obama, baby.
All right. We're going to talk to Adam about a ton more, some soccer stuff, his new show, working for the Obamas. So a lot more with Adam Conover after this. Welcome back to the Cooligans Living Room FC. We are here with Adam Conover. Yes, with Nutmeg. Nutmeg is in the back. He's the hype pup. Anyway, so Adam, obviously you may know Adam from Adam Ruins Everything, which just ended. The show just ended recently. We have a lot of we obviously are soccer fans, comedy fans. A lot of people, especially in Gully Squad, are huge fans of you and fans of Adam Ruins Everything. The first thing I want to talk about is your connection to LAFC. Obviously, LAFC, starting recently. You've been to games. What has the experience like been as an LAFC fan? And were you a fan of soccer a ton even before LAFC got there?
So first of all, Travis Helwig, who you had on the show, introduced me to LAFC. He used to be my head writer, and he was like, this guy had merch for the team before they played a game. Like, I don't even know how he found out about the team. Like, he was like reading the LA Times, like, oh, a soccer team is coming. I'm going to get on board with this early. And so he was like I think he had season tickets like before the team even started. Yeah. I am not the biggest sports guy generally. I'm not like a fanatic, but I like learning about new sports. I like any sport, if that makes sense. Yeah. I always really enjoyed, I'd watch the World Cup when the World Cup was on, and I like soccer in the Olympics. Definitely liked it. But the reason I became an LAFC fan was when I went to the game for the first time, because I have to say it is still to this day the best in arena sports fan experience I have ever had in my life is at an LAFC game at Bank of California Stadium. Like, I think if you were an alien come to Earth or you knew nothing about sports and you went to like every single game from all the different teams, you went to an LAFC game, you'd be like, this is the biggest team in the city. Like, this has the most people are. I don't know who the Lakers are. LAFC is clearly the most important team because there's so much energy. People are, singing and chanting the whole time. I know it's all soccer culture stuff, but it's also so well done. The sound system is so good. You know what I mean? It's just like the actual stadium itself is so awesome to be in. It's just like they really did every piece of it right, And compare that to like when I went to like a New York Red Bulls game in like 2006, I want to say, and it was like half empty. There's like 10 really excited guys behind the goal, like screaming and singing. But apart from that, it's like everyone's like, what are we even doing here? There's some like, pee-wee soccer teams after the game. They all went, because it was like $5 tickets. And so that like, first of all, just as a thing to do, as a piece of entertainment, it's like you can't beat it. And then simultaneously, at least for a 1 to 2 year span, the team was also unbelievably good and exciting to watch.
It doesn't hurt at all.
It's like, okay, this is also like the best team in the history of the league by some measures. Like, all right, sign me up. And then ever since I actually started following the team, it's mostly been a letdown of that promise.
Yeah, they lost recently, obviously, to Seattle in the playoffs, and it's been tough. This year
everybody
in general
loses to Seattle in the playoffs, so that's not your fault.
This year in general has been just difficult for every team. Like, it's for every team that loses, it was like, oh, whatever. It's 2020, but for the team that ends up winning the whole thing, they'd be like, "This was the most important year ever." Thank you,
2020. It's going to be very odd.
I'm happy to live through a little bit of hardship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I also started following the Lakers about 2 years ago. I lived in LA 5 years, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just follow the local teams. You know, I'll stop watching the Mets. I give up. I'll watch the Dodgers now, you know, after moving from New York. And my friend was like, let's follow the Lakers. Here's the thing. They're bad right now, but they're going to get good, and then we'll have paid our dues. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then the next year they got LeBron, and the next year they got AD, and then they won a championship. I was like, yeah, I watched during Lonzo Ball days. I think I'm a real fan.
I've been here since day one. Okay?
I've been saying the same thing about the Knicks, but we just still suck. So I don't know.
We never really turned that corner.
What the hell's going on with my decisions?
Yeah. I don't like, I can't follow a team that I don't live in the city of. I've tried with stuff like that with the Mets, or like my dad was a Knicks fan and I've been in Knicks games, but like, you know what? I just really like being in the city. I like rooting with the home team. I like the culture of it. That's my favorite part. I can't do the across the country rooting thing too much. So I really have enjoyed getting myself into the culture, understanding soccer more. I still barely even understand the rules, but I love going to the games. This is basically where I'm at.
When you look at your track record, especially with Adam Ruins Everything, that sprang from, I believe, a sketch that you filmed. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the wedding ring. Right? It was the diamonds or something. But
the engagement ring episode on College Humor.
And also, shouts to you for doing a circumcision rule and everything, because I thought I was the only anteater around. But it's amazing that you proved.
Why call yourself that? But okay.
I'm trying to clean it up for television.
Does the tongue come out?
if you ask nicely. So
okay, put your hoodie up. Okay.
I'm always wearing a turtleneck.
It is a hoodie. I never thought of this. It is a hoodie.
So hey, me and the ladies both. Y'all the only ones with crew necks. But the reason I ask is soccer has so much controversy, so many different things attached to it. Were you ever pitched a soccer topic for Adam Ruins Everything? And if so, did you think about having a 19-hour episode to cover it all?
You know, we talked about the World Cup. But John Oliver had recently done a big FIFA thing. And so I think it came up in our pitch room like the same year that he did it, about how incredibly corrupt that organization is. So we didn't do that. We did the Olympics instead, which is basically the same story, except that in the Olympics, the athletes aren't paid. So it's even worse when you've got your $2 billion Coke deal. And like we had this like shot putter on who like won a gold medal for America, and he was like, I was sleeping in my car, you know, when I was like the same year I won a gold medal for the Olympics. That, you know, they can't do endorsements and all this stuff. It's like really bad. And FIFA is the same way, just as a different flavor of the same bullshit, you know. But yeah, I mean, that stuff's real.
Yeah, we had a question from one of our Gully Squad members, Matt Haney. He asked, first he said two things. He said, first, is there anything more gully than ruining everything? So you already get the you get some props
without even trying.
Okay, so what is gully?
Gully's like keeping it real, you know, being genuine, you know, street kind of like, that's basically
not shying away from the uncomfortable stuff, you know.
Yeah, nothing is more street than me and my show. I would agree with that. No, yeah,
That's right.
I would say so. It is keeping it real is what it's about. It being like really honest and saying like, hey, let's call out you know, the lies that you've been told, the myths, and let's like really get down to it and say like, hey, here's what's really going on. Be honest about it.
Out of my own curiosity, has there ever been very like genuine blowback towards any episode like that really pissed people off, that got you the most like hateful comments or anything like that? Is there any one in particular that stands out more than others?
I mean, of course we've gotten blowback from all different places. Like I get, you know, we did one about how funeral homes are, you know, ripping people off with embalming and things like that. And I've got, you know, I pissed off the embalming community, you know, and I got like,
oh, you don't want to mess.
Embalming Twitter was up in arms.
So, I mean, I'll get like a funeral director who's got a YouTube channel going like, well, now I'm going to ruin Adam. In fact, when we, you know, and like all kinds of stuff like that. You know, the one that got the most was we did this video about how the idea of alpha males and beta males is not real, you know, and this is transparently not real. Like you could, it's, if you want to talk about people that way, it's fine. You're allowed to, but like, it's not science, you know, like if you go talk to any
Adam Conover, you're sounding like a real cuck right now. I know what to tell you.
Now that is what you can see if you look at the comments on YouTube. You'll see people saying that. Just guys making the same, like we did a video on alphas and betas aren't real, and there's just thousands of guys going, sounds like what a beta would say. Like, well, it doesn't exist. Like you could talk to any sociologist, any anthropologist. Humans are not divided up that way. That's not like a real way that people are. It's also not the case that women are only attracted to alphas, even if that did exist. Alphas and betas don't even exist in wolves, which is the original like place that people like go to in their mind. It's fake. So, but yeah, there's all these guys who have like built their identities on like, no, I'm not a beta, I'm an alpha, and they like, you know, have, it's like really core to who they think they are. And so they
I'm sure even the Tiki Torch community is like, hey, chill, sales, okay? Chill.
Look, if you want to say, you know, if people want to say, oh, I used to be very passive and now I'm more confident and that's helped me out, that's fine, you know, but like, don't act like there's science behind this or there's some sort of like fundamental division of people in this way. So that doesn't exist.
I base it on, you know, I used to cry a lot and now I cry less, you know, so there's been improvement.
Yeah, but
I cry, Christian.
I cry while flexing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we got more with Adam. We get back after this. Baby, we're back on the Cooligans Living Room FC. And by the way, previously I had asked a question from Matt Haney from our Gully Squad. He actually had a second question here for Adam. Any interest in doing a factually focused on playing sports during the pandemic?
Oh, that's a really good question. Factually is a podcast I do every week. I have experts and folks like that on.
Weird. And Christian and I have never been asked to be on. All this talk about experts.
Would you guys call yourselves experts?
Yeah. I would call myself more of an alpha expert. You know?
I mean, it's a good question. Like, it's a real issue. Like, I'm a sports fan, and you know, watching all these different leagues come back, it's a real issue. Like, I'm watching half these leagues. Like, what are they doing? You know, like Major League Baseball, all the players got COVID. You know, basketball's going to try to come back without the bubble worked great. They did it right, and it was good on TV. But now they're going to come back without bubbling. Is like, it seems like craziness. And like when they're letting fans in, it's bad stuff.
The fans are the one that scares me more than anything else, because at the very least, the players are like in a very controlled environment, or they're constantly being tested. But having fans there seems a little reckless, but what you can do, some governors, don't give AF. But
yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is, like I said, a lot of our fans are very interested in Adam Ruins Everything and just your, how the show was created. We had a question from Peter Garcia who asked, I honestly just want to know what kind of research goes into the pieces. Like the McDonald's hot coffee piece had me shook.
Yeah, that's a story about how, you know, that story that you, to catch people up, that story you always heard about, the lady spilled hot coffee on herself and she got $1 million and all these lawsuits are so crazy. The real story is that lady got 3rd-degree burns on her. She was 90 years old. She had to go to the hospital. She was there for like months. They had to do reconstructive surgery on her crotch area. It was extremely painful and like could have been deadly because they were literally kept their coffee at boiling. And the reason you've heard that story was because basically corporate America tried to promote it in order to make it less possible for people to sue companies in the future. And they've also lobbied to make it harder and harder to do class action lawsuits or to be able to sue companies at all. They're trying to take that right away from you. And yeah, that's the story there. So to break that story, usually the way it starts is someone in our writers room, we have writers and researchers, someone has read like the tip somewhere. You know, they read an article, they heard a podcast, whatever it was that like, oh, I heard this story. Could we do this? And we look to make sure it hasn't been done by any other, you know, big comedy shows. Sometimes we'll overlap, but and then we go do our own research. We find the studies, we find the original news articles, et cetera. We start calling experts. We had a legal expert, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's a law professor who studied specifically corporate law and this campaign that they've run in order to stop us from being able to sue. So we run our script by them. And then we fact check all the, you know, we write a script based on that, and then we fact check the script. You know, most of the time on most comedy shows, they're doing punch-up rounds. For us, we're sitting there with the research going, you can't say that, we got to put that differently. And we sort of try to negotiate and make sure we're still able to like make a joke, even though we're, you know, trying to make sure it's all factually accurate. It's really, really rigorous. And that's not to say that, you know, mistakes don't slip through. They obviously do, especially when, you know, last year we did, you know, 16 episodes. We've done like 65 episodes total of the show. And, you know, one year we did 16 all at once. So, you know, we're doing a big volume, but we also do segments where we go back into old episodes and we update or we correct when we've made those errors. So, you know, and that's how a newspaper works. That's how, that's the best you can do is to try to keep making your
so much
better.
work.
What? Yeah, it is a lot. It's not for Alexis.
I actually got the packet to be to submit for. I'm not making this up. My manager sent it to me. And I was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" It was a research paper. I'm like, "This is a dissertation. You needed like 6 sources." I'm like, "I'm not doing any of. I'm not that passionate about any of this information."
And I was gonna ask, like, the balance between like a researchers and comedy. You props to you because you guys, you know, you have there's a bunch of comedians that we know that were on the writing staff as well. What's the balance between comedians and researchers? It feels like it's more research heavy in this case.
Yeah, I mean, we got equal staff of writers and researchers, and each one is paired on an episode. So, and they work together as a partnership. But, you know, we want research staffers who are a little funny, and, you know, they sort of know how to maybe get us halfway to a joke, right? Where they would say, oh, like, this is, you know, we spend this amount of money. That's more money than we spend on something else. And then the writer can go, oh, wait, I know how to write a joke around that, you know? And then we need writers who are smart enough to really understand the topic. And, you know, one thing that's really important that we do on our show is every time we make a joke, the joke is almost never like tangential, like off something else. You know, the joke is about the subject at hand, so that whatever the joke is, you're like learning. Does that make sense? Through the comedy? Yeah. Like, you know, you'll see other comics on TV do a joke where it's like, oh, like Mitch McConnell is saying this. That's like when your mom comes and interrupts you while you're doing homework and you're like, get out of here, mom, or whatever. And it's like this whole other like scene that's being created. And
I can't believe John. Why are you doing Alexis's act right on?
I thought we were going after John Oliver. I'm that smart too.
The other thing I wanted to ask about is obviously your new project that was announced recently, the G Word, and your work. This is for the Obama's production company. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Have you met Obama, and how dope is he?
Why would you talk about Michelle?
It's my show, Alexis. All right?
Yeah. But what does Obama think about your show? That's what I care about.
Okay, I'll tell you the whole story. They had optioned this book, The Fifth Risk by Michael Lewis, which is it's partially about the Trump transition. It's also about just like, oh my God, the federal government is this massive organization that we know almost nothing about that does all these incredible things, right? For good and for bad. You know, it's incredible. It's like the largest organization of any kind on earth. It's like safeguarding the nuclear stockpile. It's also setting food policy. It's doing all this crazy stuff. And like, there's so many stories in it. I had read this book. I liked the book. They had optioned the book and they were like, what the hell do we do with this? We want to make a TV show about it. We don't know what to do. We met with them and we're like, how about we do it with comedy? And they were like, great. And so we're doing the show. So I'm running it like my typical writer's room, but it's for the Obama's production company. I believe he's read one script, and I know that because we did have one phone conversation with him in which he said, wow, I like the script, and then he talked for 45 minutes in an unbroken stream. Because here's the thing, and I know this running my own show, if you're in charge, you don't ever have to shut up. You just talk as long as you want. So in my own writer's room, I do that. I monologue. He was just like, hey, here's what I think about, about the government. Take it or leave it. So it's cool. They've been very hands off, and we've just been able to explore the topics that we want to. We're talking about like really amazing stuff the government does that you have no idea about. Like we're talking about how, every single piece of meat you eat has been inspected by somebody who works for the government. They're literally standing in the food factory, like checking every piece to make sure it doesn't make you sick. And like considering how many billions of pounds of meat we make, that's like an enormous job. And so we're going to go talk to those folks. But we also talk about like how government food policy is like really messed up and is the reason why we eat a lot of really unhealthy stuff and is like kind of responsible for the obesity epidemic, et cetera. Right. And so we're working on it now. The whole show was delayed because of COVID. So we're hopefully going to be able to shoot it early in 2022. Still working on the scripts right now, but hopefully we'll be able to shoot it in 2021, and it should come out. I'm not sure when yet, but it'll be on Netflix probably late 2021 or early 2022, hopefully.
Wow. I thought you knew something about COVID. We didn't know. I'm like, 2022? Don't do this to me, Adam. How'd you ruin 2021?
It's going to be longer. Don't be looking at the end date and saying, oh, we're going to get that vaccine soon. I'll get to go back to normal. We're going to be living like this for a while. Just keep trying to make your life in this. You know what I mean?
Oh, boy.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, thanks for lifting our spirits, Adam.
Sorry, man. Look,
you know what?
I'm telling you, just to bring it back to soccer for a second, I got LAFC season tickets. I got on the waiting list. I didn't actually get them, but I got on the waiting list. And I'm like, I don't know when I'm ever going to get that money back. Should I cancel? When are they going to have people in the stands? When am I going to want to feel like be at a game? It's crazy.
Yeah.
At our 30-year UCB reunion, we'll go to a match.
Look at this. Okay, the title of this episode is Adam ruins the Cooligans. All right, we got it. All right, we'll be back with more Adam Conover right after this. All right, we did it again. Thank you so much to Adam Conover. It's great to chop it up and just talk some soccer, talk comedy, just a bunch of guys with TV shows. You know how it is.
Couple successful people.
I don't have a show on the air right now, so you guys have one up on me. Okay.
All right, yeah.
So I thank you for having me. It's always fun to come and reminisce about all the time we spent in dark basements together in 2010.
Yes. Literally, started from the bottom.
We really did. It really was
floor.
Often literally underground was how from the bottom we started.
Adam, is there anything you want to let people know about before we sign off?
Yeah, sure. I have a podcast called Factually. I interview incredible experts from around the world of human knowledge, do some comedy too. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Alexis reminded me, I volunteer with a homelessness group called SELA here in LA, where we bring food and water and engage with, unhoused neighbors in our community. If you want to donate or if you live in LA, if you want to come out with us sometime, go to SELA, SELAHNHC.org for that. And, follow me at Adam Conover, wherever you get your social media.
All right. Great. Thank you so much again for joining us. We're excited about the new show. Whenever it is released, it's going to be great. Sometime in the future, you'll see it. It's going to be, you might be able to go outside without a mask when you finally see this show, is what I'll tell you. It's going to be, all right. Then that's going to be a blessing. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you follow us at Soccer Cooligans on all social media. Follow us on Twitch as well. We just hit 600 followers on there. That was exciting. We do a bunch of fun stuff on there. I'm on Twitch too. Okay. Hey. Follow Adam as well. Twitch.tv/Adam Conover. All right, do it. Follow at Fubo Sports and subscribe to the Fubo Sports YouTube channel for full episodes of the program. All right, Adam, let us end the show the way we normally do. So for Adam Conover, my name is Christian Polanco. I'm Alexis Guerreros. And together, what are we? The Cooligans! I got to do it.